Well, good morning, everyone. And yes, I'm on my YouTube channel right here. Just want to make sure that it's taking off and everyone can see it today. We had a little problem last week, and so let me make sure we are going here. I assume we are. Oh, there it is. It's changing, and we are live. Good. All right, so I can close that window, and there we go. Hey, that's a much better picture anyhow. It's lovely Mount Otumano on the island of Bora Bora. So, it is 8 o'clock Pacific time, Saturday, February 21st, and it is question and answer time. And you know, I always like giving about 10 minutes at the beginning here to see if we have any questions. And the questions, if you have a question, what you're going to do is you are going to use that phone number right there. It's going to ring me right here live, and you're going to be on the air with me. And don't give your name or anything like that. Just connect. If you want to use your first name, that's fine, but don't use your full name. And then ask your question. Remember, questions should be about French Polynesia, in particular, cruising in French Polynesia, or places to stay for post cruises, accommodations, or general questions about the islands of French Polynesia. So ask away, and I'll do my best to answer those questions. And then, if there are no questions asked here in the first 10 minutes, then I'll go on to the presentation. And I have a really nice one this morning. It's my last June and July. I was on a beautiful 14-day cruise, and we went through the Society Islands and, of course, Fakrava and Rangiroa and up to the Marquesas. So I'm going to share some pictures of that trip from last June and July. And so if you are any of those, Society Islands and, of course, the atolls of Fakrava and Rangiroa and, of course, the Marquesas, you will enjoy it. Even if you've been there or you're planning your trip, you'll get some valuable things and enjoy some beautiful pictures. Again, 95% of the time, what I share are pictures and or video that I've taken myself. So I've been there, and I like sharing the experiences and so forth. So if you got a question, again, there's the phone number right there, 805-320-0930, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. What else can we talk about here for a few minutes while we're waiting here to see if we get any questions this morning? And hopefully we will get a question. That's the whole purpose again of doing these on Saturday mornings every week at 8 a.m. Pacific time here on my YouTube channel. It gives you a chance to ask me a question. And why me? I've been to French Polynesia 35 times, 22 by small cruise ship, and of course, 13 of those have been land based. So I have a real good, as we say, a good point of view from multiple experiences over the 3 decades I've been going there. So it's not like I've been there one time and I'm going to tell you, well, you got to take this excursion. It's the best one there. Well, they have no reference point. I know most all the vendors. I've taken those vendors' boats and things like that. And I've been on 6 different ships in French Polynesia. So I have a good balance to be able to give you an answer that is from a educated viewpoint, just not an emotional one based upon one trip there. You get the point here. Uh, I don't know everything about French Polynesia, but I probably know more than most. So, um, again, no questions yet. I'm waiting for them. So, if you got a question, 805-320-0930. Beautiful Mount Otomano. I'm going to talk about the picture here a little bit here in Bora Bora. I'm up on the deck of a ship, of course, and the sunlight or the morning light, the sunrise, is just happening. And interestingly enough, I've been to French Polynesia almost every month of the year, and every time I go to Mount Otomano here, of course, it changes based upon the time of year as far as the sunrise. Sometimes it's over here. Sometimes it's way over here. This time it's right here. I've actually caught it when it's right up here too. and each one's unique and different. And I love taking pictures of Mount Otomano for those beautiful sunrises. So, anyhow, this is a sunrise. This is Mount Otomano. This is Vaitapi here, and a little port is right here, of course. But I love Bora Bora. Or let me just say, I love the mountain backdrop. I love the lagoon of Bora Bora. Okay, I have some other favorite islands, but as far as the lagoon, it's really hard to beat the lagoon of Bora Bora. Anyhow, no questions yet. I'm hoping somebody's going to call that phone number there, 805 320 0930, and ask me a question. Again, hopefully we're going to get this thing going here, and there'll be multiple questions every Saturday morning. So not only do you get to hear someone else's question, which may be the one you're thinking of but are afraid to ask, but you're going to be able to glean from the answer. So hopefully that's going to happen. If a few months go by and there are no questions being asked, I may have to reconsider, do I want to do these on Saturday mornings? Because, it takes me about an hour to be set up and pick the presentation I'm going to share with you and so forth like that. Have all the lighting correct and everything else, and away we go. And so, there's some effort. Would I like to sleep in another hour on Saturday morning? Yes. But again, my purpose here again is to share my experiences in French Polynesia, which will help you plan your trip of a lifetime. So again, I can see we're doing nice streaming here, 6,000 kbps. Oh, that's lovely. Going like crazy here. No frame drops. I love it. But again, I'm waiting for a question here. Let's give it about another 3 or 4 minutes here. And if we don't get a question, I'm going to move on to the presentation. And I'm excited about sharing the one this morning. When I went on this particular cruise here, I had been up to the Marquesas one other time, but that was a long time ago. So this was a unique one, to go to the Marquesas again on a small ship and enjoy it. And so, again, I have that perspective now of the Marquesas. I've been there twice. The other thing, too, just so you know, Zell and I, we've been to 16 different islands in French Polynesia, all over the Society Islands, obviously up to the atolls, now at the Marquesas, and yes, we have been to the Estrella Islands, too. So if you got a question about any of those places, I probably have an educated answer, okay? So again, give it a couple more minutes here. It's a beautiful morning. We've been getting pummeled with rain for the last week and a half. And today I'm looking out the window and the sun's out. It's a little chilly still, but I'm glad we got sun today, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and enjoying it. So again, we live along the central coast of California, halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles, in a small community in the middle of the vineyards. So we live in this beautiful area, and it's easy for us to fly out of San Francisco or fly out of LA. Either one's about the same distance, and so I get to take advantage of those airfares. Who's got the great airfare that we can take advantage of it? It doesn't matter, again, if it's out of SFO or LAX, because we live in this halfway in between. It's just lovely here, small town. It doesn't get much better than this. So, a couple of more minutes here to ask your questions. Again, 805 320 0930. And then no questions here in the next minute. Oh, by the way, I want to mention here, I put my phone number up here so you guys can ask questions. It is not there for you to call me and ask me on the side your personal questions to help me plan your itinerary. That's not what it's for. It's to answer your questions. So please don't use that phone number outside of these Saturday mornings. I get enough phone calls during the week from several other things in my jobs and personal things. So again, if I don't recognize the phone number during the week, I don't answer it. I assume it's spam. And if it's important, they'll leave a message. So again, please don't use the phone number just to call me during the week and ask me to be your expert for the area and so forth. Take advantage of Saturday mornings. Again, no questions yet, and so we're going to get on to a presentation here very, very shortly. And if you got a question, even during the presentation, feel free to ask it. You may see something in one of the pictures that you go, oh, I want to know a little bit more about that. Please feel free still to call in, and we will stop and take that question you have, and hopefully I'll have an answer for you. So again, just because you haven't done it here in the first 10 minutes, feel free to still call, okay? So it's been 10 minutes now. So let's move on with the presentation. Don't need to explain this picture anymore of Mount Otomano, but let's move forward here. And I'll explain each picture as we go, where it's taken from and so forth. This is taken on a little island that most cruise ships never stop at. We had bad weather, rolling seas and everything else, and the captain did not want to try to anchor in an area where the seas were pretty rough, even though it was inside of a little cove. So he went over to another island that was sheltered from the waves. That there's only about 400 people that live on this entire little island. But the people were there to greet us. They were happy because they don't normally get the cruise ships. And they had made all these beautiful hats and leis, and each one of us got one. It was really touching. This is their a way to greet us. Look at that. They had a band out there. I noticed one thing that was rather interesting. They're all female. Can I say that nowadays? Female. But I was looking, where's the guys? They're normally doing this, but no, the women were out there greeting us and so forth. And it was a lovely way to greet us to their small little island. Lots of fruit there. You could just, oh, it was yummy and everything else. Nice and fresh. Look at those. Oh, yum. I saw this guy in the little village there, and he was just taking in, the water and so forth. And I'm trying to imagine what he may have been thinking. But he was enjoying the moment, and I was enjoying watching him enjoying the moment. Lots of pigs up in the Marquesas, and most of them are halfway. These are domesticated, even though they have little tusks and so forth. I've been out in the wild and ran into, a 300 or 400 pound boar. And not that I want to go up there and pet him or anything like that, but it probably was someone's pet, though I was still being very cautious. This is their little graveyard in this little community that we stopped at. And they take such pride in the area or their burial places for their relatives and so forth. It was really a blessing to see. They don't have a lot of things, but boy, their stuff like their church and their cemeteries are absolutely manicured. They're just beautiful. This is a little church that was close to the cemetery there, and we walked up there. It was really cute. Hang on, I gotta sneeze here. Excuse me for that. But I love running into these little churches again because remember, there's only about 400 people on this entire island, but they love their church too. This is inside of that church. Look at that, all the stonework and everything else. They're so proud of their churches, even though, like I say, 400 people on the entire island. This is my beautiful better half looking out the window there at that church, and they even have a little stained glass up here. And again, this is on a tiny little island up in the Marquesas. And drying things off here. Again, they've probably been doing it this way for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they still do it the same way today as far as drying out things and so forth. The waterfalls, this is on Nukahiva now. What we did is we took a 4x4 and went all the way from where the ship left us off at the tender location and went across the entire island to the North Shore. And because I wanted to take advantage of seeing the North Shore where very few people get to go, and it was spectacular. And of course, this waterfall, just so you know, it's hard to tell when you're looking at a picture like this. Okay, this is over 1,000-foot waterfall. Really spectacular. And the view from the top here, looking out the north. Again, this is Nuka Hiva, and which is a lovely island. They got these rock formations. We're heading down to this little village over here. I've actually gone here, like I say, several times, no, twice now. And we've taken even a skiff all the way around this point, going to the other side to another little cove to enjoy a lunch at a tiny little place, basically in the backyard for someone's home. So we enjoy this area here, but the formations are nice. Now, I'm going to point out this little area right here, you can't see right now. But I'm going to show you a picture here in a little bit of the top of this right here, and you're going to go, wow, because you can't get close to it. Fortunately, I had a pretty good camera with a pretty good lens on it, and I'm going to share that with you. Another little waterfall coming down the hill. This one's probably 300 feet. Again, far away, but I had a good lens. The trees here are incredible. Look at that. And now you're going to go, how big is this? Well, if Zell was going to stand right here, and let's say she stands on this rock right here, her head wouldn't even touch the base of the tree right here. It's huge, absolutely huge. Beautiful. And we're going through a little ruins here. Our leader here, she's taking us around, and this is the way it was, hundreds of years ago, and until probably the last 100 years, they still lived like this little hut here. You notice the nice steep area here. That's because it rains quite a bit. Now, remember the picture I showed you of the pinnacle there, and I said I'm going to show you a picture. This is what's on the top of it. Interestingly enough, this whole thing is made out of coral, and of course it's the Virgin Mary. And I was probably at least a quarter of a mile away. Fortunately, I have a camera with a good lens on it, and I was able to capture this to be able to share it. Because you definitely can't hike up there, but obviously somebody did at one time. Incredible. Look at that. More of the peaks and so forth. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Those peaks against the blue sky, spectacular. Hey, another one just sort of sitting in there. She's taking in the moment on a little bench along the waterfront of this little village. And she's just, taking it in. If you live there, again, interesting now, an island like in this one, there's probably 1,800 people live on Nuka Hiva. But they got satellite coverage, they got Wi-Fi, so they get to see the world, But again, a lot of times they just enjoy the moment. That's what I like to do a lot of times when I'm in French Polynesia. Turn off all the devices and just go enjoy the moment. This is inside a church. I'll show you the outside here in a little bit, but this is on the north shore of Nuka Hiva in the little village we were visiting. Look at that. Another spectacular church in a small little area. Probably not more than a couple of hundred people around this village area on the northern part of Nuka Hiva. Beautiful. There's the outside of that church. And you probably have seen pictures of this church if you've been studying the Marquesas long. But look at that. All the stonework again and everything else. This church here is, a couple hundred years old. Spectacular. The flowers. Oh, just beautiful. Now I'm back in the main village on Nuka Hiva. And they have their Catholic church down there too. And this church has probably been here for over 200 years again. Look at that. Just incredible. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to switch gears. We're over to the atolls now. This is on the island of Rangiroa, and this is where I go to enjoy being off the beaten track. This is at the Green Lagoon of Rangiroa. Spectacular, beautiful, great place to flop around and enjoy the day. Beautiful. Another picture there taken from the Green Lagoon. And we'd gone on this boat right here, all the way there. Beautiful. Rangiroa is a beautiful island, but you can't just stay on the ship. You can't just stay around where the tender location is unless you're going to go over to the Kia-Ora Resort and have a drink or something, which is a beautiful resort. But to really see Rangiroa, you want to go to the Green Lagoon or out to the Blue Lagoon. This is coming into the island of Raiatea, and it was just beautiful sunset coming through the reef opening right here. This is the reef and so forth. Little island. For you that have been there, you know this little island. If your ship is gliding in over to Raiatea, you know this motu that you pass and so forth. Beautiful sunset picture entering the lagoon of Rangiroa. I'm sorry, Raiatea. If you look in the background, you see this little thing right here. That's Mount Otumano on Bora Bora, and from this vantage point, it's probably about 18 miles away. There we go. This is the Motu again. We're heading over here to the port of Raiatea. And again, there's Bora Bora right there in the background. Beautiful starburst sunset. Beautiful. This is in the morning as we were getting ready to head out of Raiatea. And there's Mount Otumano again. From this vantage point, it's probably about 16 miles away. This is on Taha, and Raiatea is over here. And this is a fish trap right here. And one thing is rather interesting. You'll notice all these little white specks here. Those are birds. You know, if I was hungry and I was a bird, I'd want to be wherever the fish traps are and take advantage of the little fish that are in there and go down and swoop and take it. Beautiful. Again, there's the fish traps over here. You're looking across here to Taha. Again, this is taken on a motu on close to the island of Taha. Just beautiful, beautiful. As we're leaving Raiatea and Taha, and we're heading there, the sunset's going to be over here. Here's Mount Otumano, and from this vantage point, and we're probably 14 miles away, maybe 13. And of course, I'm using a good zoom lens here. There's the little church with a steeple. For you that have gone here and been to this destination, you know this particular church I'm talking about. And again, if I had $1 for every time people have taken pictures of this little church right here with Mount Otumano in the background, I would be a wealthy man. Here we are at the sunset. There's that little church again. Heading for the reef opening here to come out the backside, as I know the next stop's going to be Bora Bora. Another picture taken from a similar vantage point there. Grab that, those sunset pictures and the color in the sky. Now you can see the entire island of Bora Bora in the distance. That little church is right here still. Now we're just going through the reef opening again. Again, this is on the opposite side of the island where most cruise ships come in. And so we're heading to Bora Bora. So you get that spectacular sunset view again over by Bora Bora. And of course, we're back to another moonrise. Sunrise on the island of Bora Bora. Look at that, just love it. And this zoomed in to the top of the mountain, and the sun was just starting to show its rays coming through one of the little openings there at the top of the mountain. And there's a starburst right over the top of Mount Otumano. Again, you got to be there at the right time of year to catch this type of composition if you're looking for a starburst. You know, when you're shooting for a starburst, you can't do it with a cell phone, really. You can't really do it with most cameras. You have to do this in a manual setting with your f-stop somewhere between f11 and f13 to catch these rays to get that starburst. This is on the island of Tahiti. This is the garden area, or part of the garden area, at the Intercontinental Resort on Tahiti, which is my favorite actual resort on the island of Tahiti. Remember, the island of Tahiti, not Moorea, not Bora Bora, but on the island of Tahiti, the Intercontinental really is my favorite. And we got our favorite little place here along their inner lagoon right here. And it's off the beaten track. A lot of people don't walk out there. And got these nice lounge chairs in the shade. Bring some lunch with us. Just enjoying the moment. And there we are. This is taken again at Nukuhiva, up on the Belvedere above the town. And there's my beautiful Zell and myself, and taking it in there. Just beautiful. I think that's the end of the presentation. So we have no questions this morning. Let's wait another 30 seconds to see if someone's brave enough to ask me a question. 805-320-0930. While we're waiting for that, let me give a little story here. Zell, my beautiful Zell, she had gone to French Polynesia about 4 times before we met. And we've gone there 35 times together. So total, Zell's been there 39 times. And so I know it was her happy place. So when I asked her to marry me, knowing this was her happy place, I said, marry me and I'll take you to French Polynesia every year. She said, where do I sign up? And we've been married 27 years now, and gone multiple times. Sometimes this last year, we went 3 times. I promised her once a year, and I kept my promise. That night I would make her coffee every morning. But I knew that was her soft spot, so I asked her to marry me, and that is why we make so many trips to French Polynesia. It all started with me keeping my promise when I was down on my knees asking Zell to marry me. So it looks like we have no questions, so I'm going to let this go. That's sad. I was really hoping we would get some questions today. So let's let it stop. This will be up in the YouTube. I'll leave it on the YouTube because a lot of people like to come back and look at the pictures and so forth like that. So it will be there for you to glean from later if you want to go look at the pictures again and so forth. So you all have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully next Saturday, some of you are going to be brave enough to call in and ask me a question. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.